What's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. Today is a really great day. We're having amazing weather right now. It's super sunny on that side of our place, but the washer and dryer are on, so I'm over here, so the lighting's not as good. So I feel like I've just been having the best 2023 and the best summer. It's been the best year living here in Ireland. I'm coming up on 2.5 years here. And yeah, there were some ups and downs for sure in the beginning that I will maybe talk about in another video. This year, I thought summer was gonna be a complete wash because all of July, it was literally pissing rain every single day. And I was just like, oh my God, I can't live here. Like, after winter, I need there to be a summer so I can get my vitamin D again. I'm getting low-key depressed. But I took a trip back to California. Thankfully, my job gave me the opportunity to take a leave of absence for a month, so I got to travel a little bit. I went to Croatia, I went back home to California, I went to Portugal and Spain, so I got all the sun in all the other countries. And then when I came back to Ireland, it's just been amazing weather from August to September. So I'm just like, this is awesome. Now I feel like I'm actually excited for winter, like you usually would be excited for seasons to change, since I got a proper summer. And I feel like I got kind of tan too, which is, I mean, that's a sign that I had a summer. But anyways, like I said, I'm coming up on living in Ireland for 2.5 years, and I get asked all the time by people online and also people here in Ireland, whether it's a taxi driver or the butcher or new friends I meet, coworkers, whatever, why did you move to Ireland and how did you move to Ireland? So I'm gonna go over some of that today in this video, but the short answer is my husband is Irish and we met 7 years ago in Ireland. Yeah, so I guess I'll just tell the story of how me and my husband met and how I landed here. So 7 years ago, I traveled to Europe for the first time with my friend Kieran. And by the way, my husband's name is Kieran, spelled C-I-A-R-A-N, and my friend's name is K-I-R-I-N. So I call her Girl Kieran, and then I obviously just call him Kieran, my husband. I was going to Pepperdine University, and I had always wanted to travel. I had done some travel within the United States. One of my best friends, Julie, we used to call each other travel sisters because we didn't make a lot of money, but we were like, we are gonna save every penny so we can travel. And I really wanted to go to Europe, but I just felt like a lot of my friends either didn't have the money to go or they didn't have the dedication to save money to go. You know how it is, people commit to things and then last minute they bail. So I was sitting in class and talking about this and how badly I wanted to go to Europe, like every American. And this girl, Kieran, she turns around, she's like, oh my God, I've been wanting to go to Europe too. So from that first conversation, we became really good friends and we started studying a lot together. We were just like, the best of pals in college. And yeah, we started planning this Euro trip for spring break. So we actually applied to do the study abroad program that Pepperdine offered. And so this year was Oxford University in England. And we're like, wow, that sounds amazing. And we didn't get in, not because we weren't skilled enough or we didn't have the grades, but just because we applied too late and it was kind of like a first come, first serve situation. So after we were rejected from the study abroad program, we were like, fuck it, let's just go, these bangs are bugging me. Let's just go have a Euro trip. So we squeezed as many countries in as possible. I think it was 17 days, maybe 18 days. And we chose to go to London, France, Ireland, and Scotland. So I really wanted to go to London. I really wanted to go to France because it was just like, just one of those things that as an American, I feel like these are the countries you hear about all the time. So she wanted to go to Ireland and Scotland because she said the guys were hot. Now, I really was not looking for anything at the time. I had no interest in meeting men when I went abroad, truly. I was just like, I just can't wait to travel and get the hell out of America. So we planned this trip as cheaply as possible. We stayed in a bunch of Airbnbs, and yeah, some were good, some weren't. Actually, the one that we stayed in France was so bad that we needed to just like leave immediately and go to a hotel. But yes, we met many of men along the way. I mean, there's just something about being abroad. People know you're traveling and you're American. There's also something about being American in other countries. You stick out like a sore thumb, and that could be a bad thing and also a good thing in a way. I mean, it draws a lot of attention to you. Also, we were like 24, 25 years old. So yes, we got a lot of male attention in every country. But yes, we go to London. We have a great time there. Lots of drinking. And then the next country we go to is France. And although we had a good time there, it wasn't our favorite country. People were kind of rude. And now I've been to France a few times since then and had a better experience. But I don't know what it was. Maybe because it was just two single girls alone. But we were constantly, like, I want to say harassed on the streets. It was crazy. Like, it kind of made us nervous to be outside by ourselves at times. Like, we took public transportation and everything like that, and I remember we got off the bus or the train and we didn't recognize the neighborhood, and there was just all these men that just came up and swarmed us and were following us down the streets and like, you know, like, and doing this and like reaching out to us, not exaggerating, like they were touching me. And I was like, my heart was just racing. I was like, oh my God, if someone just took me right now, what would I do? And you're kind of looking around, you don't have Wi-Fi, you're just like, where do I go that's safe? And it's like men on that corner, men on that corner. So that freaked us out. But otherwise, you know, we had a good time. But then afterwards we came to Ireland, and just from the first experience, like we got in a taxi and the taxi driver was so nice and personable. This refreshing experience after coming from France. We were really excited to be in Ireland. Just everyone was just so nice. Like that's what they say about Ireland, right? Is that the people are really nice, and they really are. So my friend had lost her luggage, and she didn't lose it. What happened was some teenager took her luggage that looked exactly like it, and then his luggage was left on the belt. So she was really bummed about that. So I was just like, fuck, I hope she finds her luggage so we can get back to having a good time. So we go to Penny's, which is kind of like a cheaper version of Forever 21 here, and she gets underwear and whatever she needs, right, to last the trip. And then the next day they call and they find her luggage, and so we were so excited. So that put us in a good mood. So we're like, let's go out, hit the town. So of course we go to Temple Bar. To clarify, there is a Temple Bar in a neighborhood called Temple Bar. So a lot of times Americans come and they're like, oh, take me to the Temple Bar. And we're like, you just want to go to Temple Bar because there's a bunch of bars there. But anyways, so we go to Temple Bar, as any great tourist would do. Yeah, it was just like drinks and this and that, and like she was on Bumble and she met up with some guy, and I think he had a girl with him too, like just a bunch of people that we met up with, just going from bar to bar, dancing. Now again, American in Ireland, I was looking for dancing, and now I've realized there's less kind of like clubby scenes here. There's a lot of pubs, and so typically at a pub you're not going to be dancing, but there are places to dance in Ireland. So that's what I was looking for. We meet this guy and he's like, oh, you guys want to dance? I know a place. And we're like, okay. So he recommends the Jar. So anyone that lives in Ireland or in Dublin would know, I guess, the Jar. It's a pub, but it's not a traditional pub. It kind of seems to turn into more of a clubby vibe at night. We're like, let's go there. So now this group of people, like we're just gradually collecting people as we go from pub to pub, bar to bar. And we walk into the Jar, and immediately I see this guy across the room and back it up. So remember, my friend told me that, oh, the guys in Ireland are hot. Now, I don't think the guys in Ireland are not hot, but when I came, I was like, I see they're your type. They're not really my type. Yeah, they just kind of look like a white, you know, like a regular white guy. That's how I see it. Now, of course, there's like hot people everywhere. So yeah, they weren't doing it for me. But then when I came into the Jar and I saw Kieran, my now husband, he's like that type of Irish that's like very pale with really dark curly hair, and I do love me a curly king. Yeah, I just saw him immediately and I was just like, wow, he's like my type. Like if you look at my celebrity crushes growing up, yeah, it makes sense. So anyways, we kind of are doing like the eye flirting or whatever. So again, I'm wanting to dance, you know? I'm like, I'm ready. So I see his group and I go up to the group and I try dancing with the girl in the group. Again, I'm wasted. Wasted. The friends saw that he was kind of eyeing me, so they kind of like pushed him in my direction. And so now me and him are dancing. Again, I probably look like an idiot. I'm trying to like freak dance in a pub. What's wrong with me? He's like not a great, well, he's not a bad dancer actually. Like I've had boyfriends that are worse dancers, but he was just like, let's get shots at the bar. So I was like, okay, even though I do not need a shot at this time. So we go to the bar, and by the way, somewhere along the line before I'm talking to him, or maybe after, I think he turned his back or something, there was these other two guys that I had been talking to, and one of them comes in and he's like trying to chat me up, and then Kieran's friend, he kind of like steps in and is like, hey man, I know you from LinkedIn or something. And so the guy's like, oh, you do? And so he kind of like distracted this guy so then Kieran can come back and like chat me up. So yeah. Anyways, so Oshin has something to do with the fact that me and Kieran are married. So thanks, Oshin. Literally, we take a shot and we're talking about probably stupid stuff. I think I said something like, do you like NSYNC? Like, I don't know what's going on. Again, I had dance on the mind. I was looking to dance. My friend Kieran comes up and she's like, we're getting out of here. I'm like, what? So I told Kieran, do you want to come with us? And he's like, I literally just met this girl 5 minutes ago. And he's like looking over at his friends like, yeah, dude, like go, 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 go. So he was out with a bunch of couples basically that night. And he was saying like, I was not going to go out because I was just like, I don't want to be like the fifth wheel or whatever. And we almost didn't go out because Kieran, my friend, was depressed because her bag, but then we found the bag. We get in the taxi and Kieran, I could tell Kieran is kind of like cautious, which if you know Kieran, he is a cautious person. So that kind of made me feel at ease. I'm like, okay, well, he's not going to kill me because he's afraid I'm going to kill him. So yeah, we go to this person's house that we had met. Again, there's like a group of people. I don't remember whose apartment it was. And we're all hanging out. I mean, yeah, I don't know how safe it is to go to a stranger's house in another country, but I tend to make good choices for the most part. And then Kieran's like, do you want to go back to mine? And I was like, sure. And yeah, one thing led to another. Fast forward to the next day, and I was just like, oh my God, this guy, I was still thinking, I'm like, he seems so just like a good guy. And he's smart, but he's so cute. Like, I thought he was so cute. So I was like, if you lived in America, I literally said this to him. I was like, if you lived in America, you would be my boyfriend. I would be sure of it. And so after that, Kieran was like, let's go on a proper date tonight, like if you're available. My friend was like, that's fine, because she had met some people and she was like, I want to go look at, I don't know, it was like a cemetery or something. So anyways, she goes and does whatever she's going to do. So I am freaking hungover as hell, right? So he's like, do you want to go out? Do you want to go to dinner? And I'm like, no, I don't want to do any of that. Like, I just want to hang out. And so we get Thai food, take out Thai food. We have that at his place. And I was craving chocolate after, so we went to the supermarket and he got me some chocolate. Yeah, we're just like having a great time together, and I really like him. And then the next day we're going to Scotland, my friend Kieran and I, girl Kieran. And yeah, he was like, oh, I'll come meet you in Scotland. But I was like, no, like I talked to Kieran about it. We're still like on a girls trip and we don't want guys to be, ruining that. So I was like, no, you can't come to Scotland, but we'll see each other again. So we go to Scotland and me and Kieran are just like texting, back and forth. Yeah, it was kind of a joke because typically I wouldn't be the first to text a guy. I mean, actually, I wouldn't have been opposed to it. Like, if I want to text a guy, I'll text a guy. You know what I mean? I don't, at the time, obviously I'm married now, I don't do any of this anymore, but I just don't get pressed over any guy. If I want to text you and that's going to be entertaining to me and get me a dopamine hit, then I will text you. I've never been in a position where I feel like, oh, I need to like play games with this person to get him to like me. Like, liking me is a prerequisite to being with me. If that's not there, then it's not there. It's a joke because I went and Kieran, he claims he was trying not to be like too desperate and text me immediately. So he hadn't texted me in a few hours, or maybe it was a day or something. So I was like, oh, what? You're just gonna hit it and quit it? But anyways, so after that, we're texting back and forth, and then we're FaceTiming at night. So me and my friend Kieran would go to bed, and then me and Kieran would FaceTime. And then I go back to America. He came to visit me and he stayed a week and it was really nice. But Kieran and I are talking like every day. Now we're in a time difference. It's an 8-hour time difference. So like 2 p.m. my time, it's like 10 p.m. his time, and he's getting ready for bed and like gonna get up for work the next day. So it is challenging to keep up that correspondence, you know what I mean? So on top of the fact that I was still in school, so Kieran kind of starts to see that I'm getting cold and maybe like ignoring some texts here and there. I was super busy trying to graduate college. And so he was like, clearly something has changed. What's going on? And I was like, yeah, I don't think I can do this right now. I just don't have the capacity. I can't be like texting and calling this guy in Ireland. Like, it's really hard to keep up. But I knew Kieran was special. I just knew he was special. And I don't know, I didn't know we would get back together later, but I just knew that he had set the bar really high. I go back to my life and I would still text Kieran every once in a while because he's cute. And like I said, I'll text a guy, you know? And so me and Kieran to this day, we always joke because he's like, you would text me and I would get really excited. And he's like, I would know it was you because you would text many short texts at once. So my phone would be like, bzz, 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 bzz. He's like, and then I would reply and then you wouldn't text me back for like 2 weeks. So I was like, yeah, that sounds like me. And then I was getting patches for my jacket. Like I have this jean jacket that I was putting patches on for all the countries that I've been to. And Kieran was like, do you want me to send you some from Ireland? I was like, yeah, that'd be amazing. So he sends me 4 patches and he wrote me like a letter describing like what each patch means and whatever. Then there was like this part of the letter that was so sweet and it was just like, we had an amazing time last summer and I think about you often. Basically said something like, I hope you come back to Europe, like there's a whole continent to explore and I hope you're having an amazing time in California. And he told me, he's like, when I wrote this letter, I was like, I'm being very vulnerable right now, putting my feelings on this piece of paper. She could have a boyfriend right now for all I know. And then I graduate and yeah, I text Kieran. I mean, I knew Kieran was really into me. You know when you know a guy is into you? And so I was like, if I text him, he's gonna be down for the get down. So I started texting him more flirtatiously and more frequently. And he was like, oh. So I was like, oh, you should come back to America and visit me. And he was like, well, I can't go all the way back to California, but my work has a client that's in San Francisco. I might be able to grease the wheels to get them to send me to San Francisco. So I was like, okay. And we just had the most magical weekend. So at this point, I'm like posting about this guy and everyone's like, who is this guy? Like, who's this Irish guy that you're suddenly dating? I said to Kieran, like we had a talk and it's like, yeah, I want to give this a shot, this long distance relationship thing. And we kind of both agreed that we would do it for a year. And if it works out, then one of us will move or we'll reevaluate what's going on. So yeah, it turned into just be this amazing relationship. And thankfully, like we both made enough money that we could take trips. So we never went more than, I'd say 6 to 8 weeks without seeing each other. So he invited me to Ireland. He paid for the ticket and everything. And it was literally like a honeymoon. He took me all over Ireland. It was a dream. We were staying in like little cottages. We were going into Dublin and having like nice dinners and going out to pubs, lots of drinking. He introduced me to his friends. And so I just was like, oh my God, this guy's amazing. We went to Galway. Actually, he ended up saying, I love you in Galway. And he bought me this it's actually this necklace, but it had a diamond pendant on it. So he took me jewelry shopping in Galway. So what ended up happening was I dropped the diamond in the sink just recently, like a few months ago. Anyways, it was just like, oh my God, he's just so dreamy. That's how I felt. And yeah, I went home basically like in love. And the other really cool thing is that if Kieran couldn't make it all the way to Los Angeles or I couldn't make it all the way to Ireland, then we would meet up in New York. And honestly, I love New York. I always have an amazing time. Something magical always happens in New York. My best friend Julie and I, we would try to go to New York once or twice a year to see Broadway shows. And every time we're there, we're just like, in New York, like something always happens just randomly. That's amazing. Like Julie and I met Jake Gyllenhaal twice. So when Kieran and I are in New York, in Times Square, now I'm sure this happens a lot, but just imagine it. You're with your Irish boo. I'm in love. And just like everything is just the best, right? So we're walking down Times Square and this guy takes candid photos of us. These are the photos. And he taps us on the shoulder. He's like, can I take a few photos of you guys? And he shows us like the candid photos he took. I was like, oh my God, those are so good. So it's just like, this is so cute. Like this guy just got you and I gazing into each other's eyes, like laughing candidly. Yeah, so that's what we do. It was just such an amazing time, honestly. It's just always an adventure with him. And yeah, I don't want to wait a whole year for us to be together. And so I was telling him, we were having these conversations because we're getting like just so sick of not being with each other. You come back to the States and you're just like, I don't want to be here. I don't want to be here. I want to be with Kieran in Ireland, or I want him here. And so we just lived for those moments that we got to be back together again. And I think it really strengthens our relationship when you spend some time apart, like that long distance. You really get good at communicating, you don't have petty fights and things like that. Now, that being said, when you get together, you may have some more fights because you're not used to it. Yeah, we had the discussion, and he's like, I will come to the States and start the whole visa process, but like, I want to know that you're serious about this. You're not going to break up with me like you did last time. Like as soon as I moved my entire life to America, I'm like, no, I'm serious about you. So he goes through the visa process, and it takes freaking ever. Like it took a year. I want to say, it took a long time. It was getting maddening by the end of it. I was like, whew. So he moves over to Palo Alto area. He works in tech. And then again, we're still long distance. I'm in Los Angeles and he's in Northern California. So every weekend we're doing like the 45-minute flight. So we acquired so many JetBlue points. I ended up giving them to my brother when I moved to Ireland. Then COVID hit, and I was looking for a new job in NorCal already because I wanted to go be with Kieran. And so I ended up getting a job at Amazon and leaving my job in aerospace. And then COVID hit. So Kieran and I are now going from like being long distance to being with each other all the time. And it was like the best. It was like, we loved it. Just every day together, cooking breakfast together. Like, yeah, it was just constant state of cuddle. Yeah, then COVID got kind of boring. My family was already far away in Southern California, like a 7-hour drive. His family is really far away in Ireland. We're not meeting people because it's COVID. And I was just like, NorCal is kind of boring. But again, I feel like I didn't give Northern California a real chance because it was COVID. But just that time, I was thinking, I don't want to do what I'm doing now, like working at Amazon. I wanted to do something else. I just felt like there was a calling for something else. Honestly, a lot of Americans think that all their problems would be solved if they lived somewhere else, specifically in Europe. And I'm gonna do another video on why that's totally not true. In fact, you're probably gonna acquire more problems, and then you're gonna have your other problems still to deal with. But moving to Europe is still a great experience. But yeah, you just have this feeling like, I just need a change, right? And instead of moving to another state, I was like, let's go to Ireland. I always loved Ireland. Every time we went, I just loved it. And I was like, we'll be on Europe's doorstep. We can travel everywhere. Yeah, like, I feel like this is my last chance to live in Europe. Backing it up a minute, he proposed to me in Napa Valley. There's my ring. Can you see my ring? And then we ended up getting married 3 months later in Las Vegas during COVID. We were both like, we knew, honestly, when we got together, we knew we wanted to get married to each other. There's just something there. I was like, he's the real deal. I know it. And he felt the same. It was COVID. We go to Las Vegas. We were supposed to get married in the little chapel, but it was getting fumigated because of COVID. So we got married in the pink Cadillac. And yeah, it was just super magical. That's another story. But we didn't tell anyone we got married because we were planning to have a celebration after COVID when everything opened up again. Now, probably not the best way to go about it. I definitely recommend, if you have a small wedding, even if you're just, what you think is just going to Vegas to get married, it's actually a thing, and you should definitely tell your friends and family. That's all I'm gonna say about that. Yeah, so after that, we moved to Ireland, and it was an ordeal, but we're finally in Ireland. And yeah, I'll do another video about all the logistics about moving to Ireland, but that is pretty much how I got here. And Kieran, he was like, are you sure? Like, he was kind of enjoying being in California. And what you start to realize when you come to Europe as an American is we do have a lot of privileges living in the States, and there are pros and cons of living everywhere. So there are actually a lot of people in Ireland. I meet people all the time that are like, why? Pretty much actually every single person that meets me, they're like, why would you move from California to Ireland? Like, why? So many people are trying to go to a sunnier place, or go where there's more variety. You can start businesses really easily in America. Kieran was kind of like, I'm kind of enjoying being in a new place. I'm enjoying the sunshine. I like that nobody knows me here. I can kind of reinvent myself. And obviously that's what I wanted. I wanted to go and just start over, meet new friends. Not that I don't love my friends I have in California, but get a new job in a completely different industry, just like change my style, do everything. So that was the goal, and I feel like now, 2.5 years later, I'm finally living in that purpose that I had come here for. At first, it was very, very challenging. There were a lot of things that I did not anticipate about moving to another country. I was very naive. But yeah, so I will definitely do another video on all of those details, but that is pretty much the story of how me and my husband met and how and why we now live in Ireland. So hopefully that was entertaining, and if you guys have any questions or any ideas for other videos, let me know. I do plan to do more YouTube videos. I know I say that in every single video, but yeah. All right, thanks for watching.